So, we are looking ahead to the coming of Jesus, and that begs the question, why did Jesus come? And there are lots of different answers, and different people will tell you different things. For myself, and I should perhaps underline those words, I think it's really quite simple. First, people had come to think that God favored the people who did well. They were blessed by their wealth and their position, and they had all the good things. Also, they thought that God would sort out all the injustices in the world by judging people both in this life and in the next. The baddies would get it coming to them. And I think both of those are a mistake. I think Jesus came to try to change those views. He wanted to show, or God with him and in him wanted to show, that God loves everyone, and particularly the people who haven't done well, particularly the poor, the refugees, the sick, the needy, the powerless, and that he wanted to be with the suffering and the grieving. And at the same time, God's love is without limits. It includes everybody, the baddies as well as the goodies. There won't be a great punishment at the end, I believe, because there will be restoration. There may well be, if you like, education, change, transformation, because in God's ultimate world, evil will not exist. So we need to be purified, but the purpose is to make us fit for the world that God has designed for the future. Our reading today comes from the beginning of John's Gospel. And I'm sure you remember that great passage which is often read at Christmas time. It begins, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." John is telling us that Jesus, whom in his Gospel he calls the Word, was there at the very beginning of everything. Not just when he was born as a baby in Bethlehem, he was there from the very beginning. He's part of God. So God's love for us squeezes the fullness of himself into his creation, his human creation. I once described it as God coming as a Lego man, because God is so great and he comes with all the limitations of being a little plastic body. Anyway, the fact that he came is wonderful. And here is the reading that is set for today from John's Gospel, after the very first words. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. He came as a witness to testify concerning the light, so that through him all might believe. He himself was not the light. He came only as a witness to the light. Now this was John's testimony when the Jewish leaders in Jerusalem sent priests and Levites to ask him who he was. He did not fail to confess, but confessed freely, I, John, am not the Messiah. They asked him, who then are you? Are you Elijah? He said, I am not. They asked him, then who are you? Are you the prophet? He answered, no. Finally they said, who are you? Give an answer to take back to those who sent us. What do you say about yourself? John replied in the words of Isaiah the prophet, I am the voice of one calling in the wilderness, make straight the way for the Lord. Now the Pharisees who had been sent questioned him, why then do you baptize if you are not the Messiah, nor Elijah, nor the prophets? John replied, I baptize you with water, but among you stands one whom you do not know. He is the one who comes after me, the straps of whose sandals I am not worthy to untie. This all happened at Bethany on the other side of the Jordan, where John was baptizing. So you got the picture. John baptizing, drawing crowds because people were looking for a Messiah to come, but denying that he was the Messiah. And of course we know that he wasn't, and that Jesus was and is. And Jesus coming into the human world transforms everything, doesn't it? And I think the hymn which gets closest to that is Amazing Grace. So I thought it would be good to have a second hymn at the beginning of our service today and hear it sung by Judy Collins, which is what is happening now.